This is Gemara Menachos, Daf, Pei, Hey, and all the learning for these few days of Pesach has been generously sponsored by a close friend of the Daf. As a Schos Aliyas Neshama for Eliezer Moshe ben Shema B'siyata D'Shemaya, all the incredible Kayach HaTorah generated from Talmud Torah Berabim, Shabi, and Aliyas Neshama for Eliezer Moshe ben Shema, as well as a Melitz Yeshar for the entire Mishvacha and the entire Chabura B'siyata Dishmaya. So we pick it up in the bottom of Pei Dalit Amid Beis. We're middle of a lengthy give and take. Brisa back and forth. When we concluded, we're 6 lines from the bottom. The first one line is Lahalon. That Edach Erech Meretz, Vidach Eretz Meretz Lamash Malay. That was really the wrap up of the previous brises. So now says the Gemara, Tani Chada. This is going to be a kasha and Rav Yechanan, which hopefully you remember, but maybe Lakidesh, but we'll remind ourselves as we go along. Tani Chada. We learned in one brisa. Sheva Gag, Sheva Chorva, Sheva Ad, Sheva Svina. Maybe Vikoirei. If you have a crop that grows in a roof or rune, or flower pot or a boat, maybe you bring bikurim from them v'kairei, and you recite parshas bikurim. Tani idach, 4 lines from the bottom. Maybe v'enoi kairei sevishlam rish lakish. Gag gag lo kasha begag dima'ara hag begag the Beis HaChorba. Rish Lakish is able to answer very simply. One is the roof of a cave, one is the roof of a house. Chorva lo kasha kam b'chorva avodah. Different types of avodah, whether it's cultivated or ruined or not. Similarly, different levels. Does the atzis have a hole in the bottom? Atzis nakav or not? Svina loikasha. Svina shalitz. Svina shel cheretz. Cheretz, of course, the last Rashi points out, we know, is you read why. Mushem de eretzu. But says the Gemara as we turn over to Behei Amid Aleph, El Rav Yechanan, Frak the Gemara. According to Rav Yechanan, what are we going to say? El Rav Yechanan, Kasha. According to Rav Yechanan, these two braisais are shver. Why? Because Rav Yechanan holds that any time we have these dates from the mountains or the valley, the chitin from the valleys, they do not become cut, they do not get kedusha, and therefore there's no din bikurim. Why? Because the drasha completely excludes the din of bikurim. So how are we going to answer up the Bryce? So the top Rashi articulates what we just said. Kidesh. There might be not the most choicest areas, but still, the din's going to be maybe v'kairei. Says the Gemara, you're right. Tanoyi, it's machlekes tanoyim. The Tanya, shagag shabachorva maybe v'kairei. Shabbat shabasvina einai maybe kol ikers. We have 2 different tanoyim, and the second one, Rav Yechon is going to hold like. And we quote the Mishnah, concluding the previous Mishnah of Kulein Abayis element of Muvchar. All the Menachos really only come from Muvchar, the best flowers. Amri le Yoichana Umamre Lemoshe. Yoichana Mamre, who are 2 Egyptian sorcerers, as Rashi over here, if you see Rashi, 2 lines from the end of the wide lines on top. Roshe Machshefim Shal Mitzrayim. These were the head of the sorcerers in Egypt. LeMoshe Rabbeinu. So they thought that the signs of Moshe Rabbeinu were being done via Kishiv. So they said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Tevin Ata Machnes Afarayim. Straw you're bringing from Afarayim. Meaning, Afarayim is the place Shu Makam Harbe Tavua. Ata maybe l'sham Tavua Limkar B'Tmiyah. Kach Eretz Tzayim Shimlei Kshafim Atabal l'sham Laslik B'Kshafim. So the mushal, the place that you use to indicate a place that's full of flour, is Afarayim. And this is what they said to Moshe Rabbeinu. You're bringing us from there. I mean, you're going to come to your kishav over here in a place full of kishav. Amr leho, Amri inchi. So Moshe said, people say, lemasa yarka, to place of vegetables. Yarka shkol, take your vegetables to sell. Rashi says the Irsha Gadol Shem Yarik, a place that grows vegetables, Harbe, Hevi Yarik Shalcha Limgar, Lefishem is Kapsin, Shama Kol Knois. Everyone gathers in there to sell him, Amrulai, Divrei Leitzanos, Ueshev Lai, Bin Yanim. They said to him, Divrei Leitzanos, and Moshe responds that Avada, there is what to be done over here, that you're going to be the ones that are going to understand the Kishuf the most, and therefore you're going to realize that this is not Kishuf, but rather this is directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And of course, we brought this down purely because of the name of the place in which the wheat was brought from. Says the Mishnah, Ein Meviem, we don't bring the flour for the Menachos, not from a fertilized field, not from an irrigated field, not from a field of trees. Bimhevi, and if you do, kosher, it's going to be kosher. How do you work the land to get such great grain? Nara shana rishaina. What you do is you plow it year number one, but you don't actually plant. Shana shniya, the second year zara, you plant. Kaidim lepesach shivim yom, 70 days. Voice is soyless, and it's going to make a lot of fine flour in maruba. Ketzad baidik. How do you check to determine whether it's sifted properly for the Beis Hamikdash? Hagizbar machnis yadai l'teichel, and the gizbar sticks his hand into the flour. Allah avak psula. If dust comes up, it's pasula nafena, until it sifts again. V'mitzalia, and if there are worms as well as psula, then it's going to be pasul forever. So the test is going to be that it's going to be too fine to have a din of seiles, and it's not going to be kosher, or it's going to be minchas chasera, as we're going to see. If it has worms, then there's mamish, nothing that could be done. Says the Gemara, Ketzad says, so the Mishnah taught us, what do you do? Nara Shari Shaina, you plow the first year. Ibayelu Hechi Kamer Nara Shari Shaina Ushniya Nara Vizaira. Is pshat, year one you plant, year one you plow, year two you plow and then plant. Aidoma Nara Shana Rishana, you plow. Ushniya Zara B'loi Nara. And then the next year what you do is you plant without plow. So ask the Gemara, what is the sequence? What are we doing year two? Tashema, the Tanyam Rav Yosi. Says Rav Yosi, Chiti kar zayim chvar achim. Chiti kar zayim ukvar achim. El malei smuchas Yerushalayim. If they were next door to Yerushalayim, my Meviyah Mehen, we would bring the flour, the barley from them. Lefi she'ein mevi'in as Omer El min hasadas hamid ramois, only from the southern fields, ham nunarais likach, that are plowed specifically for this reason. Why? Shabehem chama zeirachas, the sun shines. Mehem chama shakam, from them the sun sets. So the Brisa is starting to tell us what is the process, and says the Brisa, Ketzad. So what do you do to get this grain? Nara Shana Rishayna Ushniya. Nara Shana Rishayna, you plow year one. Ushniya Chayresh. Vishayna, and year two you plow and you repeat the plowing. Vizar, and you plant. Kaidem lebez hashivim yom tishismuch lechama. The field will produce the stalks the size of a zeres and ears the size of a zartayim. Kaitzer, and you reap, uma'amer, and you gather, v'dash, and you thresh, v'zayra, and you winnow, bayra, and you sift, v'teichet, and you grind, u'merakid, and you sift again, or bayra will select, you're merakid to sift, or maybe eitzel, gizbar, you bring to the gizbar, the gizbar machlis yadol teichet, And also by Avak, again, if there's dust in there, he tells the one, go and sift it another time. 3 lines on the bottom, Gizbar Sachyadoi, Shemen. The Gizbar smears his hand with oil. And he sticks his hand into the flour. Ad sheyamale kol avaka, until he brings up almost all of the dust. The oil on the hand will stick the dusty part of the flour, and he'll be able to remove all the dust from it, all the inferior parts of the flour from it, leaving over the flour needed for the carbon. So says the Gemara, what do we see from this raya? Katani Mia, what did it say? Chayresh v'shayna. You repeat it. So you see that the second year you're plowing again. Frakti Gemara l'taimech masisa like Katani shayna. But our Mishnah didn't say you plow the second year and then you repeat the plowing the second year again. Braisa Katani shayna. The Braisa articulates not only are you plowing year 2, but you're shaina, you're repeating the plowing. So that's also at odds with our Mishnah. Says the Gemara, ha loy kash on the top line of Peyam base. Kan ba'avoida, kan b'she'ina avoida. The Mishnah is dealing with a field that is already worked out, cultivated, and therefore you don't need that second plowing, whereas the Brisa is. So says the Gemara, so lamaisa, Mayavi Allah, what is the maskana? Is there's necessity to plow the second year or not? Tashem, I'll bring you a raya. Titania, we learned in a brisa 3 lines down, Bayam and Bays. Titania, near Chatzia, Vizara Chatzia. If you plow half and you sow half, near Chatzia, Vizara Chatzia, you do that on the other half. So what do we see? We see that near Chatzia, Vizera Chatzia, you don't actually have to plow the second year, you could just plant. Amar Rabbi Yechanan. So again, plow year 1, year 2, you go straight to planting. Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Ein mevinas oimer elamin hasadais hame duramai shabarit Yisrael. The southernmost fields in Eretz Yisrael. Why? Shaban chamas erachas. The brayso on the bottom of it. Aleph mehen chamas shekas. Tanami hachi. We learned as well in a brayso. Bashal oimer hayaba mibakas. Base makle for the valley of base makle kebas gimel sayin haisa. The field is 3 sa. Visadem modremes haisa. And it was the southernmost field of chamas erachas. And over here, the sun would rise and shine. Mimena chamas shekas would set. Near Chatzia of Zerei Chatzia, near Chatzia of Zerei Chatzia. Rachalakia ben Tuvi avila karna da'ara. Rachalakia ben Kura had the corner of the land. Near Chatzia of Zerei Chatzia. Near Chatzia of Zerei Chatzia. V'avda al-chad terrain was amalei lechiti l'smita. And the field yielded twice the normal produce, and he sold it for the finest wheat flour, proving the precise process how to get the wheat that we need. The mitzliya psula, about 15 lines down, the Mishnah said that if this flour has worms, it is possible. Taner Rabbanan. Soila shatliya ruba psula. The majority became wormy as flour. V'chita shatliya ruba and psulas. By Rav Yirmiyah, b'rayv chita, b'rayv sa. What does it mean, b'rayv? Does it mean the majority of all the wheat that you have, or the majority of, each kernel, or does it mean b'rayv sa, the majority of a sa? Take, we have to wait for Eliyahu Hanavi for that. If he made this flour kaddish, and then they realized it's wormy, does he get malchus for bringing a carbon of a balmum? Meaning he's a wormy flour like a carbon with a mum. Do we say keep the pasuk balmum dummy? It's possible it's like a balmum. There's no malchus. Teiku to wait Nachamol for Eliyahu Navi to answer this shayla. Tanana, so we learned in a Mishnah, Kol H and Imsa wood that has worms, possible comes bech. Amar Shmuel Shanu Elalach. Says Shmuel, this is only if the wood is moist. If it's dry, because you could scrape away the wormy part of the wood, and the rest of the wood is going to be kosher. Bai Rava asked Rava, wormy wood. Same shaila. Is that considered a balmum that you're going to get malchus for? Kima the pasuk balmum dami. Oidamayim balmum el bebehema. Teku, we need Eliyahu Navi for a lot of today's shailas. We continue with the Mishnah on the bottom half of the narrow lines on Pehei Amid Beis. Says the Mishnah, Taku Alpha. The oil of Takua is the best, L'shemen, for the oil. Now we move away from the flour into the oil of the carbon, Menachos. Abashal Shaniala, secondary is Regev Iver Yardain, Regev and Iver Yardain. Kol Haratzos Hayukshirais Elamikana Yemevin. Ein Mevian Lomi Beis Hazvalim, Lomi Beis Hashlachim, fertilized fields, irrigated fields, Lomi Beis V'loy Min Ma Shenizra Beinehem, nor from fields in which there were seeds sown in between them, that the olive trees come from that which was planted. Says the Mishnah, we cannot bring a nakfon oil. We can't bring the oil from the berries. Shenashu b'mayim, that are soaked in water. Nor from the pickled olives, nor from boiled olives. There may be puzzles. So all different types of oil, all different scenarios. Some are going to be kosher b'diavad. Some are even puzzle b'diavad. So says the Gemara, let's begin with the first part of the Mishnah. Let's begin with the first part of the Mishnah that discusses that the oil from Tekoya is the best oil. Says the Gemara, Vayishlach Yoav Tekoya. That's why we bring on this pasuk. Yoav sent to Tekoya v'yich misham isha chachama. And he took from there a wise woman, Maisha Tekoya. Why did he go to Tekoya? Rav Yechon v'telsha gilin b'shemen zayis chachma b'tzuyu b'hen. There was a lot of oil, so there's a lot of wisdom in Tekoya. Tana Rabbanon v'tevel b'shemen raglo. Says the pasuk, you dip your foot in oil, zechelko shel Asher. This is the portion of Asher, that's so much oil like a spring. Amru, they said, one time people of Ludkaya needed oil. Mina lahen almost this echad. So they appointed an agent. Amru, they said to this agent, Lech avilanu shemen b'meya ribui. Go bring us 100 Meya, which is 100,000, which is 1,000,000 manas worth of oil. Halach liyushalayim, amr lo lech litzur, halach litzur, amr lo lech ligosh. So each place is sending him to the next place to get all this oil. Amr lo lech ligosh chalav, halach ligosh chalav, amr lo lech eletz plani lisadeh. Good halaz, good a certain field umatzah sheya oizek. Tachas Esav, he found this person, a Jewish farmer, digging under his olive tree. Amr lo yeshcha sheva meya riba, you have 1,000,000 zmana worth of oil? Shani tzarech, that I could buy? Amr lo, said to him, Hamten li acha asayim b'melachti. Wait until I finish my work. Hamten wait acha asayim b'melachti. Lach asayim b'melachti, yevshal kelev lacha, he threw the tools over his shoulders. And he's clearing away stones on the way home. So now he asked him again, do you have 1,000,000 mana worth of oil? The agent thought, seems the Jews have made a mockery of me. Why? They're bouncing me to go place A, to B, to C, to D, and now there's one little yid with his little olive tree. The Jewish farmer reached his city. And the maidservant brought out a small kettle of hot water. He washed his hands and his legs. She brought out a golden basin filled with oil. And now he dipped his hands and his feet. He dips his feet in oil. So the oil, there was so much oil over there, they actually would soak their feet in it. So they sat, they ate, shasu, and they drank. Lamaisa, he measures out for him a million's mana worth of oil. He said, do you need any more? Is that enough? He said, yes, Eloshenli Damim, but I don't have money left. I only have money for a million. No big deal. Take what you need, and I will go with you, and I'll take the cash. So he gave him 180 thousands of mana worth of oil. Amru. So they said that after this, all this oil was transferred. The man, the shliach, did not leave an animal, horse, mule, or camel, or donkey. That he didn't hire to bring back all this oil back to Ludkaya. Okay, so he brings back to Siddur Ludkaya all this incredible amount of oil. The people of Ludkaya went out Lekalsai to praise him. Amr Lahem, he said to them, Laili Kalasani, don't praise me, Elazeh, but rather to this Yid, Shabayimi that came with me, Shvatali Shemamei Riboy. Very nice Shabi. First, he gave me a million's mana worth of oil, and now he has given me another 180,000 that I have to give him payment for. There's one who gives it, looks like he is wealthy, but he has nothing. Excuse me, now there's one that looks like a Rayash, he looks like he has nothing, but yet he has everything. This little Yid seemed like he had nothing. He had so much oil. That's the end of the story. Pick it up from here. B'siyata Dishmaya.